Hi, I'm Forrest Griffin.
Brian Caraway.
And Lisa Tate.
What's up, guys? This is Joseph Benavidez, UFC flyweight.
Hi, this is Greg Jackson, and you're listening to It's MMAzing, and that is an amazing pun.
Get it? Like MMA, but amazing? MMAzing.
Radio.
Welcome to It's MMAzing Radio. I am your host, Dr. Law. And folks, you're lucky there's a podcast at all. Minutes before we started, earthquake. With me as always, and survivor, DJ Mark.
What's up? Survived.
Also with me, a man even closer to the earthquake. How is he alive? Kid Presentable.
Yeah, my dog got knocked out of his bed, but he's doing okay.
Yeah, and a man... Sorry.
We really did survive some shit, man.
And a man 3,000 miles away who nothing happened at all. I mean, he's acting like he survived some shit here. He just living. Lavender Gooms.
I don't see what the big deal is. You said it was a 4.2. Like, that's not even halfway to 10. Like, what are you guys bitching about?
I think 10, like, the earth splits open
Yeah.
and we all go to hell, right? So, I mean, like, your barometer...
It also does not... It goes up exponentially. Like, it's, it's not... Once you get to, like, 6, you gotta...
Here's what I saw from Stefan's computer screen. Just a little movement.
I saw Mark's move, and then my own shit moved. It was nice, guys. You guys missed out where first Stefan said, "Whoa, earthquake," and then Mark goes, "Oh, I felt it," and I'm like, "Oh, all right."
To be fair, Mike, you're pretty astute. It was just a little jumble, and it wasn't anything crazy, but when you're not expecting it, when God's giving you a shake, you listen.
Let me tell you what my nightmare is, because it's happened before to a lesser degree with a smaller earthquake. Being on the can when there's an earthquake, that is the nightmare right there. All right,
I will tell you that actually did happen to me when I was in Japan.
Was it a big one?
I was at work, and my floor was about 30 floors up, and I was on the shitter, as I would do like 5 to 6 times a day when I was working from Japan. And yeah, that building shook like a motherfucker. It was at least a 5.0.
I think I've asked all my friends before, like, when you're at work, do you ever go to the bathroom sometimes? And you don't really gotta go, but maybe you want to just play a game on your phone. Maybe you just need a break from your coworkers. Sometimes you just go in the bathroom and sit down for a breather.
It's not fair that those smokers get to go whatever they want. Oh, I have to have my cigarette now, but I don't have a vice like that, so not very often.
Regular listeners of the podcast are piecing together Mike saying 5 to 6 times with this man brought up butt cancer last week and are having all sorts of questions about Mike's diet. Anyway.
Well, it's not anything about the diet. It's that, it's like fully secluded stalls in Japan. So it's like, you could really chill out there. Like, there's fragrances. It's nice and deodorized. So you can really chill out in there, man.
Like, having an earthquake when you're on the toilet is like the safest place you can be. You have a nice fresh source of water with your debays and what have you, and heat's seeking the toilet. I mean, you're good. You're set there.
Wait, let's be very clear on something. I never use public bidets. All right, that's disgusting.
Sorry, you did tell us not to do that. It did not stop me from trying. But
guys, I don't know if anybody else had 3 minutes and 40 seconds for this podcast to devolve into poop talk, but here we are.
There's been a lot of ass play on the podcast the last 2 weeks.
Oh, that's not the word I would use to describe it. All right, boys and girls. I'm just going to go into the news, and, we'll take it from there. So earlier today, the UFC announced that we have a heavyweight title fight booked. Does it include John Jones? Of course not. He wants money. But does it include the champion, Francis Ngannou? No. Also does not. Francis Ngannou would like to enjoy his summer. Cannot work. Says he cannot fight in August or June. Says he said I accept a fight in September. The UFC, though, they promised ESPN some pay-per-views. And let me tell you, they need people to buy these pay-per-views. So they think just putting 2 other heavyweights for an interim title is the way to go. So we got the winner of this past Saturday's main event, Ciryl Gane, a man who I and Kid Presentable correctly predicted in a one-sided victory, I think, probably, over Alexei Volkov, taking on Black Beast himself, Derek Lewis. in Houston, Texas. Black Beast's hometown. Swangin' and bangin'. The champ wasn't thrilled with the news, saying, his manager saying, this comes as a complete shock to make an interim title so soon. If you look at the history of this division, it comes as a surprise. We hope to get clarity and figure out something with the UFC soon. So, anyway, man won the title 4 months ago? Maybe? Was it even that long ago? March?
Was it January or February? It was the beginning of the year.
I was going to say March or February, probably. Ariel Helwani, reporting what I don't necessarily think this man would report if he still worked for ESPN. Regarding today's interim news, you'd be shocked how often they threaten this and or how often they threaten to strip. And while most of the criticism has been directed towards Dana White, he's the face after all, it's really been the MO of Hunter Campbell since he took over. For those that don't know, Hunter Campbell is the UFC's chief business officer. He took over shortly after the sale. He does most, if not all, the deals these days. Some love him.
Is he the new Joe Silva?
1 second. No, the matchmakers, Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby.
Oh.
Some love him. He's a lot more like Lorenzo in that he isn't emotional, but he also threatens to strip constantly. Campbell is the quote-unquote lawyer White often refers to, hardly ever mentions him by name. Not sure why. He's way more valuable to the UFC than just being a lawyer. In fact, I'd argue he's the third most important person in the company behind Ari and Dana White. Again, he does all the big deals. Basically, he's the UFC's general manager, would be the way of putting it in terms of a sports team. I mean, Steph? I'm just going to say this. I don't care.
I mean, you know how I feel about interim titles. Like, it's just so diluting of the product. Like, you know, you let off with it. We're gonna get ahead of our main topic, or would have been main topic, but probably not, because who really cared about that last event that happened? Gane won decisively, but is anyone impressed? Is anyone chomping at the bit to see what he does next? We like Derek Lewis. Did he really deserve a title shot? Does he really deserve... Basically, I come out of this with neither of these guys deserve to be called champion at the end of the night, and one of them will be. It's dumb, but UFC's kind of been doing this for a couple of years now.
Yeah, Mark, you got to think they just don't have the champions available to fill that card, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's weird in a world where, like, Cain Velasquez was gone for, like, multiple years, and it seemed like they were... back then very much more hesitant.
When did Stipe beat fucking DC? Last, like, August? How long did it take for him to defend the belt?
Yeah, there's been a lot of heavyweight champions that have been, you know, very irregular with their activities and not defending as often as I'm sure the promotion would like, and as fans, you know, we would like to see them in there a little bit more often. It's weird that I don't think they said why Francis couldn't make the August date. Right? He's not injured or anything like that. So he had another engagement that was just more important than defending the belt, I suppose. I would imagine that it was a power play, that he was hoping that they could work out things with John Jones. He could fight John Jones for the big payday, you know, win that fight, and then, you know, have a nice lucrative contract to go forward from there. That obviously probably wasn't the case. And I think it's more business as usual, like you were saying first, Bobby, where it's like they probably told their investors and what have you that they were planning a big heavyweight championship fight for August, right? It is August. August 7th is going to be this event.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when was the last time they were in town. Where are they? Where are these pay-per-views taking place? The last one? That was Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
The one before that was Vegas.
Yeah.
And this one coming up no, that wasn't Vegas. The first one, it was Florida. The first
Florida,
one.
I think.
Then it was fucking
Phoenix. Izzy's was in Phoenix, yeah.
And then this one next weekend is Connor's the first one in Vegas. So I think them going to Texas is a big deal, I guess, and I don't know.
Sure. And I mean, I think Derek Lewis is a big part of that, right? He's kind of I think Francis, he in and of himself, being the heavyweight champion and being as exciting as he is a huge draw. But
you know what, man? Some of the pay-per-views, the guys on the card sell them. The other ones, the 3 letters sell them. And this is a pay-per-view that the 3 letters are going to sell the card.
Well, the 3 letters are going to sell the card for the next year because everyone's been in quarantine and people are just anxious to go out and see anything happen, let alone, you know, top athletes fight in a cage. I don't hate the match itself. I think it's intriguing, but I don't think it necessarily needed a belt on the line. I think they could have headlined this card with those two fighting and just saying it's a number one contenders fight. But I'm sure they've done the logistics and be like, we've done this pony show before, and if we throw a belt on there, we're gonna get like 10,000 more buys. So let's just throw a belt out there and have it be that. But in my eyes, it's a number one contenders fight. They're gonna get some hardware for it. The combatants are gonna get a higher paycheck, so I'm not hating that for Derek Lewis. And to go back on Gane's last performance, what's I think frustrating for him being contender is not that he hasn't fought good opposition and has won. As a young prospect, you have to fight these guys that are in the top 10 and win, and that's usually the hardest hurdle for them to do it. We just haven't learned a lot more. When he beat Rosenstrike, we knew like, okay, this guy's super technical and he can control the fight and pick the guys apart and wins decisions. And that's pretty much what happened in the Alexander fight. So it's like, okay, he fought a more technical fighter and also out-teched him. That's impressive, but we don't know what's his ground games like. How does he defend takedowns?
We got, apparently, Francis would like to go home. There's, been this thing for the last 18 months happening. Well, 15 months.
On Cameroon?
In the world. He'd like to go home to see his family.
Oh.
He'd like to. Man waited patiently for DC and Stipe and the trilogy. None of his 4 or 5 destructions of the other heavyweights was an interim title fight. Mike?
So I think I have a slightly, different take than you guys, where I think maybe you guys' thought process is that he's being punished in an aspect for, not wanting to fight in July or August. But this is the UFC's MO,
I don't think it's a punishment. I think the UFC has got this date on the calendar, and they need someone to fill it.
Yeah.
And if he can't do it, they're going to make up a title and do it. I don't even think it's even like a malicious thing. They're like, somebody else go out there. They don't care about him.
He's still champ. Francis, you want to go home and see your family, and I think it's justified. He's probably spent over a year and a half probably stuck in the United States, I would assume, because of COVID. From right, he has family, I think, either in France or in Cameroon.
Yeah, he's going to Cameroon.
Go see them. You can fight whoever the interim champ is going to be in 4 to 5 months, I would assume.
You know what's going to happen, Steph, now that they've done this. They're going to work out the John Jones fight. So then John Jones is going to get the first crack at Francis Ngannou when Francis comes back. And then we're going to be sitting there with the first defense of that title having to be against Cyril Gane or something. That's the dream right there. The UFC is putting together.
I mean, is it like who was it? Was it Tony Ferguson or Colby? There was someone whose interim belt was just completely dissolved.
I think it was Tony.
We pretended it never happened. It just didn't matter in his next fight that he won an interim at some point.
It happened to Colby as well.
No, Colby got stripped because Colby got a title shot still. They didn't make him fight.
He wasn't IC when he fought for the title.
Who gives a shit? It was his next fight. It doesn't matter.
But ultimately, that's my problem with these IC belts. Is an IC belt to me should only exist if that in turn gets defended. I've never seen an interim belt get defended. It always either becomes dissolved or it just leads, as Mark said, a number one contender match, and he just inevitably fights. I've never seen anyone defend an interim belt, and which says for none of them have really ever been a proper interim belt.
Henan Barao was a true.
Actually, Henan defended it a couple times because they didn't know when Dominic was coming back. I was going to ask, what happened when Brock had the diverticulitis? There was an interim title, but nobody defended it, right? Fuckers just lost it. Was Frank Mir? I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Shane Carwin won the IC.
DC would be the other one.
Then I don't know he fought Brock next.
Did DC ever hold the interim title when John Jones was on all the steroids?
No.
By the way, did anybody else see the video of Anthony Smith talking about how John Jones failed every drug test leading up to their fight? And USADA kept saying, he was some sort of pulsing picograms or some shit.
Is that what John Jones was talking shit about over the weekend? I thought he was talking shit about DC again.
Was he talking about Anthony's? Oh, yeah, because Anthony... Man, the UFC moved the card one time so John Jones could still fight. Just want to point that out there. Okay.
No, you guys. John Jones has never tested positive for anything. It's just in his blood that he always kind of radiates a lot of what seem like failed tests. But that's just who he is. That's natural for him.
What is he, a Super Saiyan, just like emanating golden flames? But in his case, is picograms.
Did anything else happen on this card? Like, of any significance? I don't want to dismiss the whole thing wholeheartedly, but this shit started at like 3 p.m.
OSP went up to heavyweight and didn't do great. So that's the only thing I know.
Was it supposed to be heavyweight the whole time? Or was it like a late notice type thing for...
No, I think it was heavyweight the whole... I think this was one of those, like, I need to make a dynamic shift in my career, and going up or down a weight class might do that for me. And it did not. He got knocked out in the second round. I didn't see that fight. I only watched the main event. And again, it was a good performance. You know, he got a much needed win. It was just, at this point, the criticism of Gane is that he's extremely technical, but like, dude can't bust a grape.
He was knocking people. Was he knocking people out like 2 fights ago? Like the last couple, he's gone to decision. Doesn't he have a bunch of knockouts?
He got a bunch of submissions, and he also went for takedowns in this fight. Which I was like, Alex, that's what you're supposed to do to this guy, not him to you, you idiot.
He knocked out.
Question though,
he knocked out Junior.
He's gotten a bunch of submissions, but are they submissions as a result of him knocking the guy down and then?
My man got a heel hook. So
okay, then no, no, that's a no then.
Look, it's gonna be 5 rounds of this guy fighting technically while Derek Lewis tries to knock his head off. Right? That's what this fight is.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Derek Lewis wins. I like Derek Lewis. Not that I don't like Cyril Gane. Derek Lewis winning early would be ideal.
I mean, speaking of Derek Lewis, it's a little flash, but the last I had heard from him, I shared it with you, Bob, as soon as I read it, was Derek Lewis when he caught someone trying to steal his car, and he knocked that man out. And the man was knocked out until the cops arrived.
That is... Derek Lewis is taking care of business, man. Bellator, by the way, has got themselves a interim heavyweight champion. Just pointing that out. And it's another Fedor prodigy. Fedor is just taking over Bellator. That's happening.
Isn't it kind of weird to hear of an interim champion in a promotion outside of the UFC?
I
mean, Bellator just like champions just get cut wholeheartedly. Like,
I have an honest question. Who is the heavyweight champion of Bellator if it's not? Is it Ryan Bader?
It's Ryan Bader. Yeah, Ryan Bader's busy. Ryan Bader's busy.
Well, why isn't the light heavyweight guy who annihilated him being like, I'll take your other belt too then?
He should. Well, now his teammates got the other one.
Okay, now they're sharing it. They both know they can beat Bader.
Miles Jury's still fighting. He lost. Liz Carmouche got a win. She's going to be the number 1 contender for their 125-pound title. I forgot their champion's name because she beat the one I knew. She beat Elena Mae McFarland, who was really good. But
is that the Hawaiian lady?
Yeah. That was... yeah. Okay. I had something else about Bellator and lost my train of thought that we can all just... Oh, yeah. Fedor. Bellator's going to Russia. Fedor's going to fight. Mark? I got someone in mind for an opponent. Do you have anybody in mind? Who are you thinking?
My boy Reem could potentially take.
Oh, you're going Reem. Okay.
He wanted that fight. Ariel interviewed him after he announced that he signed with Glory, and they're talking about him fighting Badahari, him fighting who's their champion right now?
Rico.
And
Rico's would fuck up over Reem. By the way,
Glory. I don't think is really like the best spot for him. But in that interview. Errol did ask him if like the door was shut on MMA, and he said like no, his contract with the Glory allows him to still fight MMA. And they said if there's one fight you still want, and I was kind of personally, I was like, oh, Josh Barnett, say Josh Barnett. No one gives a shit about Josh Barnett anymore. But he's like, I want to fight Fedor still. So I was like, okay, And then when this got brought up, I was like, well, that's possible. I don't really know who else.
So you're thinking you'd like. Reem in there. Steph, you have a preference?
Well, real quick, Bob, you might be able to correct me because you kind of loosely. Am I incorrect? I could have sworn I saw something about Josh Barnett like fighting Jay White in New Japan. Like, am I wrong about? I felt like I saw something about Josh Barnett.
Well, Josh Barnett's
wrestling thing.
Josh Barnett was a commentator for New Japan too, and there was like a weird fake heat thing with him and Jay White. But he did just wrestle Moxley a few months ago. And they have that whole blood sport thing they do where there's no ropes. They make it look like blood sport. And then they just work real stiff and everybody bleeds. It was great. They beat the fuck out of each other.
When you say Jay White, I'm not mishearing. It's not like Michael Jai White, right?
No, Jay White is a New Zealand pro wrestler.
He's the leader of the Bullet Club
in New Japan. He kind of went into Kenny Omega's like foreign heel like top guy slot once Kenny went to AEW. That said, back to the Fedor thing. I honestly hadn't put much thought into who I would like to see him fight. I was honestly off the top of my head before Mark mentioned Reem, I was like, what aging legend did the UFC recently cut in the last year or two that Fedor could fight? Because really, it's any
there's one that sticks
guys.
out. Like there's one of them. He just beat up a Mexican in Mexico. There's an answer here. I think they're forgetting.
Go for it, Bob. I don't got
Anderson Silva.
All right,
go get Anderson Silva. I know Anderson doesn't want to fight MMA. You tell Anderson he can show up at 210 pounds?
No. That's not happening. Anderson Silva is going to be making mega bucks fighting bums in boxing now, all right? He beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., all right? From there, he's going to fight a Paul brother, maybe Roy Jones, get himself 10 mil.
Here's the thing, though, right now. He can do that, too. This is Showtime, right? That's who was running Bellator right now, basically. He can box. He can do MMA. Fedor might want to box. They could just call it a boxing match. Fedor will say yes to that. He doesn't care. What does Fedor do that he's... Well, last time Fedor put a Kimura on somebody. He just throws
submissions. Like, look at his record. He beats all... He gets
dropped on his head and gets a
Kimura.
That was 10 years ago.
What Fedor does in this day and age now is fight dudes in Russia so that, he could fix the fights.
Didn't Fedor have COVID?
I will say, I think Bob is right. Having watched the last 3 Fedor fights of his career, I feel like all he does is spam the overhand right.
Yeah.
A full body lunging overhand right, and that potato body carries a lot of momentum. So that, he could box with that.
Last Fedor fight I saw in Russia, I got 2 words for you. Fabio Maldonado.
Okay, Fedor's last fight was when he beat up Fat Rampage. Anybody remember? Anybody know the last time Fedor got a submission victory?
Don't tell me was it Kevin Randleman?
No, it wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
The promotion does not exist anymore.
For Elite XC?
No, I don't think he fought for Elite XC.
It was Strikeforce that he was in.
Oh.
It was before that.
He got
it was Tim Sylvia in Affliction.
Oh my god.
That was the last time Fedor tapped somebody out. Josh Barnett's not a bad pick either. Josh Barnett wants this fight.
Did JDS get cut too?
Yeah, Junior got cut.
That's what I thought. When you were saying like someone who just got cut from the UCL, I was thinking heavyweight.
Honestly, I immediately thought they can do Anderson versus Fedor. And I think they could just make it what does Fedor weigh? 220?
I think that'd be a great get. I don't think it's happening.
Honestly, BJ Penn would say yes too. BJ Penn would say yes. You know that too.
Oh, but you keep digging lower into the weight classes. Like,
have you seen the way Bellator? Where's Rudy Bears? That's what Bellator's going to book.
Bobby, who's paying BJ Penn to fight? All you have to do is go to the bar he's at.
In fairness, apparently you give BJ Penn a fucking Heineken and he'll fight anybody. The right bar.
Okay. That was the news. Like, I don't got anything else.
If you want some warm and cuddly stuff, there was a report that came out today that Conor McGregor is paying for a whole Irish team's travel and expenses for.
We got the receipts on that.
Do I have the receipts on it? No,
I'm not. Receipts because Conor says he'd be paying a lot of things, and then later it's like
he still paid
my
that too.
Donation did not come through. What is going on?
He ended up paying that too for the good fight. You have to get shamed into it.
All I'm saying is this man will write checks that.
I'm just saying if Conor asking, well, where's the money going? And then not having a good answer, I'm gonna defend it a little bit. All right, I'm just
saying the man will say, "I'm gonna pay for some shit," and then later it's like, "Oh, he didn't pay for that."
In this case,
valid reasons or not, I need to see receipts until I give props.
All right. Well, you see, in this case, when Conor asked, "Where's the money going?" and the guy was like, "Yo, it's going to these kids," he was like, "All right, cool. Yo, here's some money. Here's some bread. Whatever the fuck he's paying."
It's something like he's sending like 25, 30 people for some amateur 12 to 16 MMA competition with their coaches, the whole Irish team. That's pretty cool.
It's awesome. Once I get the receipt, I'll give them all the props. But until then, it is all hyperbole.
Well, they're
probably he probably is flying them like coach as well. So that's
look, you're picking up the check. You're
crazy.
You don't gonna go crazy, yeah. But
Probably
He
pay for like
needs to
the
pick up that-
train fare.
before
Probably-
I give
he
him
probably
the
isn't even
dab,
flying them. It's like by
Before
train or
he gets
bus
the
or
credit, you got to pay the bill because everyone's very generous before that bill comes. Oh, I'll pick up this and I'll pick up that. I'm throwing money everywhere. But once that bill comes and you got to put that card down, that's where the real man shows up. And until that happens.
You see, a true expert, they put the card down, but they make sure it's a credit card rather than a debit card because you can more easily dispute a credit card bill. It's like,
Mike's known. He's giving some phony
this
credit
is a
card.
fraudulent purchase. You know, like 10 days later, get your money back.
Like,
Tune
what?
in
The
next
whole
week
team?
for more additional financial scams.
Hey, Mike, hey, Mike, what industry do you work in?
Don't worry about that.
Mike, what
Just
industry do you work in?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Just saying.
Let's just
Mike-
say
What?
he's got the inside scoop.
He knows how it's played, and you know Connor's going to be like, what? You thought I was going to pay for a whole team to get flight? No, that's fraudulent, man. That's not what I do.
Yeah, I'll buy your dinner on the flight. You get to the plane, I'll get you that, Salisbury steak. That's on Connor. All right. Yeah. There's nothing going on, guys. Let me tell you. Ariel's taking a month off. Fucking Ben Folks, no podcast this week. We're here for you. Sure, it's about 25 minutes of MMA talk. Half of that was poop talk.
Look,
But
it's
we're about
sun time. It's summertime. The world's on fire once more. World's opening up. People going outside. We got other things to do besides watch MMA, Bob.
Yo, that is really true.
Yo.
Well, when that event started at 3:00 on Saturday, I was an hour into a 2-hour bottomless brunch. It was amazing.
Ooh, that sounds good, Mike.
It really was. It was stupendous.
Do you have those mimosas? Those
I
flowing?
had mimosas, I had bellinis, I had margaritas, I had red sangria, I had white sangria.
Hold on.
I'm amazed I didn't throw up.
I was going to say, Mike, who are you with?
I was with a friend from work. Well,
Okay.
ex-colleague from work.
Did you ask them for all the eggs and bacon they have?
I did not. The one thing that did suck was that while it was also like bottomless food as well, it was tapas style and you didn't get to choose. It was kind of like at a Brazilian barbecue place where they just bring out Mexican food. And
Oh,
you
so
want
that-
this? Thank you. I'll take
That's
it.
what I was going to ask you, Mike. Was there a make your own omelet bar? Because that's
was-
real class.
There was not make your own.
That's not real
alright.
class. The Embassy Suites has a make your own
Bobby.
omelet bar.
Bobby, you get to tell a cook exactly what you want on your omelet. That is class right
I
there.
did- that
He doesn't
doesn't-
get a pick for you. You gotta say if you want to
I
say
don't know.
only eggs
I gotta
and
disagree
bacon.
with you on that one.
No,
I was going to say, that is just one level up from the fucking free Holiday Inn breakfast
Yeah,
that give you
sure.
the fucking scrambled eggs that are made of powder.
I'm with Mark. I don't like this idea that the chef is just going to give me what he wants to, and I'm going to pay for that. That sushi thing is like, I'm going to give you 6 cuts of fish. I'm not going to tell you what your fish is. I don't care what your favorite fish is. These are the 6 pieces I decided to give you. I'm a 5-star chef.
in
Go to
a
hell.
in a world of madness, the make your own omelet chef is someplace that we all have control over.
It's the Pika class, the
That
make your own
is-
omelets.
That is some Zen shit you just said right there, Mark.
All right. Did anybody, and since I'm going to mention it real quickly, depending on if everybody else saw this, did anybody else watch Gervonta Davis move up 2 weight classes to fight a guy named Mario Barrios?
I saw enough on Instagram of Gervonta Davis whooping that guy's ass.
It wasn't,
Highlights.
honestly, it was really good. Like, if you can find a way to watch that, I'm not a giant boxing fan. The first, 4 or 5 rounds was just, okay, this guy's the guy was huge compared to Davis. I think they were fighting at 140, and I think Davis normally fights at 130. I think that's roughly what I'm talking about here. And Davis has got all sorts of issues personally, but that man, whoo, he was committed to getting that knockout, and Floyd was not in his corner, but also between rounds running over to his corner, telling him whether he won or lost the round, and talking over the guy's corner. It was very weird. But I don't know, it was nice to watch high-level boxing after watching some nonsense these past few times I've watched. And Lomachenko got back on track.
I watched that one.
Was it good? I heard he really did all the stuff, man.
I heard of this other Japanese guy because he was the not Inoue guy. I was kind of following because I think he only lost 1 or 2. Yeah, it was not a good performance from him. But what was the other guy's name? Because I've heard it.
Lomachenko?
Yeah, he's really good. He's a great southpaw. And this was a good fight. He finished him in late.
Yeah, he needed to come
something.
back from when he lost his strap to Teofimo.
Lopez.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna fight again. Is what they're.
That sounds like a good one. Well, Tio got COVID. He wasn't vaccinated and he was high risk, so very smart of him not to get a vaccine. Brilliant man. But yeah, there was some good boxing on. And I thought this weekend was bare knuckle Paige Van Zandt versus Rachel Ostovich.
No, we still got to look forward to that one.
No, that's in a few weeks. Mark your calendars, folks, for exploitation at its fullest over at Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
They're really running some propaganda shit at Bare Knuckle, because I watched some of that card before I fell asleep in half a drunken stupor on Saturday night. And one thing that stuck out was anytime they were advertising that fight, they were saying, Paige Van Zandt and the much awaited debut of Rachel Ostovich. Ain't nobody waiting for Rachel Ostovich's debut. That's
she
bullshit.
has family that needs this paycheck for their supplies. What is bare knuckle boxing aired on? I've never watched any of
It's
those.
Fight, right?
Fight
You're
TV?
muted, Bob.
You're muted, Bob.
Sorry,
It's
on Fight TV. That's true. Yeah.
What is Fight TV?
It's basically a hub that it's much more popular, I think, in wrestling, independent wrestling, where it just kind of serves as a pay-per-view provider for really anybody who can get any event you have going on. Mostly wrestling, now MMA and boxing too. It's for smaller promotions, really, to put on an event. But now it got bought. It's really cool. I like it a lot. But then it got bought in the last month or two by Triller.
The Triller
bought
that was it.
Which honestly is not the worst idea for Triller, who I said it before that pay-per-view, and I'm very confident about it now. They took a bath on that last one. They need some consistent revenue, I think.
Well, I told you this. I know this isn't your guys' world, but apparently it's Triller's been behind all the online K-pop concerts. There's a lot of money in K-pop because these motherfuckers still buy CDs. Why are CDs still being made in the world? Because of K-pop.
Yeah. So, Mark and I ordered the first bare knuckle, maybe the first or second bare knuckle one on Fight TV, and you can watch they have Ring of Honor on there, and you can watch AEW if you don't want to watch commercials. You can buy it on there if you have a VPN. That's how international people watch it. Anyway, I guess we can just.
This is going to be
what do you guys got?
Our shortest episode ever.
Honestly, you know what? I was going to say stuff we like, but I got something that actually really bothered me this week. And it's going to sound dumb, but I feel Mike is with me. WWE cut Tyler Breeze. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to sound real dumb, but watching Tyler Breeze is a wrestler, and he's on UpUpDownDown, the video game channel run by another wrestler and WWE. Those guys playing Uno was a significant part of this pandemic. Something for me to watch every week. And it's I really, that whole group of Tyler Breeze, Austin Creed, Cesaro, and Adam Cole, those four guys playing games together has really become very entertaining. It's one of those things on YouTube I don't miss. I watch them play Mario Party, watch them play Monopoly, watch them play, they played golf once, I feel, too. I could be wrong.
They once played Risk.
Risk?
As well.
Oh, yeah, they played Risk. Tyler Breeze was too good at Risk, though. It was the problem.
No, is that Tyler Breeze was too good at Risk? Is that the rest of them had never played Risk, it seemed like.
That's fair also, yes. And it was nice, today they have a No Mercy tournament going, and they still have taped content, so Tyler Breeze was on there. I don't know, I was reading they have a new president.
What is really preventing them from continuing to participate in Up, Up, Down, Down?
So, here's the thing. I don't think there's anything stopping him if they want to, unless he goes and works for another wrestling company. I don't think they're going to have him on if he's working for AEW or New Japan or any of those other ones. They intentionally, when they play the old video games, they intentionally would not include, they make, when they play the old wrestling Battle of the Brands, they'll play SmackDown vs. Raw and do drafts. And they had to and whenever somebody gets cut, they have to remove them from their rosters. When Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, got cut, they essentially had to make fake wrestlers because they don't want to promote them. I don't get it. Chris Jericho's not blocked from all of it. They don't even want to WWE doesn't acknowledge that other wrestling companies exist. That's basically it. And they own the video game channel. So
then, wasn't it a month ago that Jericho was on the Stone Cold podcast?
That's the thing, man.
I don't understand what the selective ignoring of history, etc.
I think Stone Cold.
I think Stone Cold.
I think Stone Cold called Vince McMahon and said, "I want to put Jericho on the show." I think the Stone Cold got a little more open. I don't know. I don't think, because I was reading that the new president of WWE doesn't give a shit, and he's just like, cut whoever needs to cut.
He's just like, where can I trim some money?
Honestly, this is me just speculating. I sense a bit of a power struggle. The fact that he cut Samoa Joe and then Triple H called Samoa Joe 2 hours later to hire him back to work at NXT. It's a weird situation, quite frankly. I don't know if they fully recognize what they have in UpUpDownDown. It is not insignificant to have a video game channel with 2.5 million subscribers that I think a lot of people watch that don't know anything about wrestling.
Yep.
I think Woods has done a really good job of being out there with that channel. And the whole thing where they banned them from being on Twitch, which somehow doesn't apply to NXT people, which I don't understand entirely, because Adam Cole's on Twitch every fucking day. So I don't know if they fully understand what they got. Marcus?
I was going to say, I don't know much of the inner workings of WWE, but you did share a picture of Vince McMahon at Dave Chappelle's last comedy thing. I'm pretty sure that was a wax dummy. So who knows what's going on with that corporation?
I don't know if he
that
gives
was
the
not a
slightest
man.
shit.
I saw that picture. That was a wax sculpture because he looked like he was melting.
Every action every action this company does makes me think they're setting up for a sale. But then at the same time, I'll go, man, Vince is going to die in that chair. He's not selling this. Like,
Bobby, he's
but I don't know.
Dead. He's already dead. And they're throwing that mannequin around.
To speak, we got a little weekend at Vince's situation going on. To speak a bit more about the significance of UpUpDownDown, to give complete accurate numbers, they have 2.26 million subscribers. And the video they released just 12 hours ago of the first round of the left right championship, 44,000 views. And as a podcast that just started a YouTube channel, I would love to get 44 views on an episode of ours.
I mean, we're not comparable. We can't look at our numbers and theirs.
No, but
I didn't know this.
But
Extrapolate something here.
Like, I remember when UpUpDownDown started, and like the first one was like Woods and Kofi playing Street Fighter, and the loser had to eat a Carolina Reaper. And like now, apparently, they got a whole like team of 10 to 15 people who just work on UpUpDownDown, and they cut Jessamine Duke. You guys remember her?
Yep.
The former MMA fighter. They cut her talent contract. She's not a wrestler anymore. They hired her back just as a content creator for UpUpDownDown. So maybe that would be an option for Breeze, but I don't know if Breeze is, I mean, I might think higher of him. I obviously think higher of him than the company does, but I think Breeze is an incredible wrestler. Like, when they watch him in NXT, he reminded me a lot of like Owen Hart. Like, he's good everywhere. And the idea that he's done at age 34 seems odd to me. So but I don't know if he really is done. He could do that. Mike?
I honestly don't watch much NXT outside of a takeover, and Tyler Breeze isn't really on any of the takeovers, so I have rarely ever seen him wrestle. I know him primarily just from UpUpDownDown and all of the things he does on there, and he has a great personality. I gotta assume that really translates into the ring. If he were ever able to cut a promo. So I know you mentioned earlier this week that him and Sean Spears of AEW have opened up a wrestling school, and maybe he wants to devote more time to that now that he's been cut. But mid-30s as a wrestler, unless you've been having a lot of big injuries, I can't imagine him being done and not wanting to wrestle anymore.
Yeah, he's got 8 years left.
But
the way he takes care of himself, he's got at least 8 years left, I think.
But I also can't imagine him leaving UpUpDownDown. If there is someone obviously Xavier Woods, Austin Creed is the most integral part of UpUpDownDown. If there's someone who's number 2, it's Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, that is I did appreciate that Woods went on Twitch with Breeze, which he is able to do because it's not his Twitch channel and he's not making money off of it. So he just showed up to play video games with his friend. I don't know, man. He's a grown man. He'll be fine. But in terms of someone who watches this stuff, I subscribe to that YouTube channel. So putting aside the wrestling side of it, this is a hit to the YouTube channel I follow. Samoa Joe getting cut was a hit. You know, the Iconics getting cut was a hit. The Iconics getting cut was a big hit. I mean, sure, Stefan saw them on UpUpDownDown. They're hilarious whenever they were on there. All these people, they take over. That's a whole different part of their business that they don't Maybe they just don't care. But I don't know. I don't think 2.5 million people watch Raw. I know they don't. So, just saying. I don't know. I did something that, like, it came up and I was like, oh, this sucks. Legitimately sucks.
I agree.
You guys want to do stuff we like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mind if I just go first?
Go nuts.
I guess one extra thing before I get into the actual stuff I like to piggyback off of the Tyler Breeze news. If you guys listen to what's his name, Hustle and Flow, Bobby?
Yeah. JD Josiah Williams? Yeah.
Josiah Williams, yeah. When the news of Tyler Breeze getting cut made the waves, I went back and listened to Hustle and Flow's Left Right anthem. That will only really matter to people that watch the stream, but love that song. People that don't watch Up, Down, Down aren't gonna give a shit about that. I don't care. Give it a listen. I still enjoy the song. Besides that, getting into
one more thing before you make it good news. Did you see the clip of Adam Cole was on Twitch when Breeze got cut?
Nah, was he sad?
His phone goes off and he's just looking at his phone for like a minute and a half. And he's like, sorry guys. So, and then he just tries to get back into what he's doing, but you could tell the guy's just a little like, man, my boy's gone. It sucked. Back to the happy stuff. Go ahead.
Now you made me sad again. No, it's got YouTube. Netflix show that I got recommended that I had been, seeing trending for a while. A show called Ragnarok. I guess it's originally a Norwegian show that Netflix had produced. That essentially it's a new age Thor, where this high school kid, I'm still not sure if he's a reincarnation of Thor or if he just gets Thor's power. I'm still not entirely sure. 7 episodes in, but it's the journey of him getting his powers and having to fight the frost giants that are in his town of Edda, where I guess historically was the actual last town in Norway to convert from the old Norse gods to Christianity. It's on Netflix. It's a very short series. The first season is only 5 episodes, and the second season is only 5 episodes as well. So it's something very easy to get into and get out of. Not so many episodes. I highly recommend it. I basically binged 7 of the episodes during this weekend. So if you have a little bit of time, give Ragnarok a shot.
This is Thor, the Norse, not the Marvel story. Thor of Norse mythology, right?
Yeah, not Thor of Marvel. No.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go real quick. Honestly, I thought I'd come on this week to give you guys a real in-depth breakdown of Fast 9. Apparently, a lot of other people saw Fast and Furious 9. I'm not seeing it till next weekend. But damn, $70 million. Vin Diesel out here pushing our AMC stock, Mike.
That's right. $7
right, Vin.
$7 today, baby.
That's right. I finished Miles Morales, the Spider-Man game, finally. I was telling Steph and Mark that I played all the side missions I could to drag this bitch out. But then I was trying to figure out the audio track game, not a game, the audio track missions where you try to find the beat.
I told you the mini game, Bobby. There's one side quest you're gonna hate, and it's those sons of bitches.
I mean, honestly, I was just like, is this racist? I was trying to figure out. I'm like, I'm like, is this racist for doing this? And then I was just like, I just don't care. I did like 3 of them, and I'm like, fuck this. And then I beat the game. It was man, these games are awesome. You guys know this. You guys all play Miles Morales?
I actually saw you playing it yesterday, and I decided, fuck it, it's $30 on PlayStation Network, and y'all know I love me stuff that's 50% off, so I bought it, and I started actually playing it today.
It's really good. I like the differences between that and the first Spider-Man game with like your different powers, the Venom, stuff. That's pretty badass. The problem with that, I was always forget how to do shit. Like I turn the game back on, I have to reteach myself everything. I thought the story was really good. And yeah, it made me, I I was telling Mark this. I think it'd be really cool for the next one if you can play as both, or maybe they make some sort of online co-op, which again, no one seems to care about online co-op. But I think that'd be a really fun thing to do. Like if like Mike and I were playing and like I hop into his game as Miles Morales and he hops into my game as Peter Parker and we complete, that shit like that. I think that'd be really fun. I downloaded Ratchet and Clank and MLB The Show. And this is just a pro tip for the 4 of you that have PS5s. When you're in the PlayStation Store, when you're trying to buy a game, make sure you buy the PS5 version of the game, or you got to talk to Sony support. They're just not. I got in the virtual queue and it said you're 188th in line, and I'm like, oh boy. But then 3 minutes later, I was 152. I'm like, I wonder if how many of these people are just saying, yo, can I get a PS5? And the Sony bot just saying, no, go away. But yeah, I'm gonna play a little MLB The Show, a little Ratchet and Clank, tell you guys how it is. But Ratchet and Clank, Mark, you told me it was the Spider-Man people made it, huh?
Yeah, it's Insomniac. They have just been busting out games. I mean, they obviously probably have like 2 internal development teams, because there's no way a one development team can make Miles Morales last year and then turn around and produce Ratchet and Clank. And they also, we talked about it every now and then, they are claiming that they did not have to do crunch to get Ratchet and Clank out, which is a huge problem in the industry. So like, hats off to them, man. They're just busting out killers. So
I was a little surprised, this is a side note, and I don't know why, that I thought that maybe the Miles Morales in the game would be same universe. I mean, this wasn't a surprise when I finished the first Spider-Man game, but I thought maybe the Miles Morales video game would be linked to Into the Spider-Verse, like that version of Miles.
Yeah, the costume.
And it's not.
That's as close as
yeah,
you're
but he's
get.
not. But it's not the same.
They
guy.
established a gaming universe, and they started making comics with like that Peter Parker. So Marvel.
Well, because they're in the
different time.
Yeah, because in the movie it's totally different. Anyway, yeah, that was it, and I also got to the episode of King of the Hill where you all wanted me to get to, folks.
About a purse, right?
I got to season 6, episode 1. That's not my purse. Hank, we're gonna have to suspend your boy. Can't have him going around kicking other people in the testicles. The thing about me is
Bobby's finest hour.
The thing about me is you don't know when I'm gonna strike. Pow! Maybe right now. Again, Bobby Hill, man, has already reached top 10 all-time TV character for me. Just me watching these. Well, I'm not even finished the 6th season, so watch King of the Hill. Fuck, you have Hulu. You bought the package with Disney Plus. Watch King of the Hill. Anyway, Steph, what do you got?
Y'all know. Mentions it's summertime. I had this trip kind of long time coming. I did a trip down to Disneyland for the weekend with my fam. Split my time with Queen California Adventure and Disneyland. A little bit older now. It's hot. Global warming is burning up the skies. Had a couple small children, parents are getting a little bit older. You're not going to go as ham at the parks as you may have once have, but that was fine by me because honestly, each park was really about doing the new stuff. Talking about the Avengers campus in California Adventure. I'm talking about Galaxy's Edge over in Disneyland proper. I believe this is the 2nd year now of Galaxy's Edge, but it may as well be the first, right? Because shortly after it opened, the world kind of shut down. So only a handful of people I knew ever got a chance to check it out. Avengers Campus has only been open about a month. Meanwhile, absolutely loved them both. I was talking to the guys while I was there, sending some photos and stuff. It was amazing. I mentioned to Mark today, unfortunately, I wanted to do everything at Avengers Campus. A lot of shit sold out. There's these giant Choco Smash bars, the PIM tasting lab for all these drinks. Supposed to come in fun beaker cups and PIM particle things, part of the, your souvenirs you take home. All that shit sold out. The stuff I did try, everything was really cool. I had the shawarma. It's funny, the shawarma stand, I bought this drink holding Captain America light up gauntlet cup holder. There's so much kind of campy stuff. You see the characters, going around. We had a army of Dora Milaje soldiers. They came out and they did a thing with the spears to do in demonstration. You kind of have Loki walking around in his current TVA kind of outfit. You'll see the Avengers headquarters where they do random stunt shows. You'll see Spider-Man is doing these random stunt shows. They have like a robot where they fire it into the air and it like looks like it's all living and then it crashes. It's really crazy how they do it. One thing I love about both Avengers Campus and the new Galaxy's Edge area is something I noticed versus like other parts of the park. They are constantly playing like the theme music of the movie. So you kind of always have this ambient soundtrack. And it's actually amazing what that does for your experience, that you always kind of have like the thematic music playing on. It really, really gets you in there. There are tons of photo opportunities. There's really only the one ride so far is the Spider-Man Web Slingers. It's a dark ride that's interactive. It's if you've been to California Adventure, one of their most popular rides is the Toy Story ride, where you have like this gun and you have like, you know, these 3D screens where you shoot stuff. Web Slingers is pretty much the same concept. They sell like an Iron Man gauntlet or web shooters to give you additional powers. But otherwise, you know, you kind of just do with your hands. You do the flip motion, shooting the web. Let me tell you, that is the most physically exhausting ride I have ever participated in. Who would have told you that you have to do this like 1,000 times in this 10-minute ride? And like you have a robots that you have to defeat, and you are fucking exhausted at the end of it. But you know, it was really cool.
Gives you an appreciation for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, huh?
I was like, that's why they want you to buy the damn gauntlet so you don't have to work so hard. But it's truly a blast, you know. Like, of all my nerddoms, Marvel Comics probably runs deepest for me, you know. So just being in this, like, it's like I said, I really didn't need the rest of California Adventure. Pixar is great, it's wonderful, whatever. I don't care anymore. Like, I just want Marvel Land to basically take over the park, and let's just call it Marvel Land, you know. That said, over at Disneyland the following day, holy shit, you know, Star Wars has taken some lumps in recent years, right? A lot of fervor really died until The Mandalorian kind of reignited, like, kind of the passion and love of it. But, you know, Avengers Campus, there's still a lot of stuff in development. It still is, you know, it's not fully raring to go. But I think with a year in the books, Galaxy's Edge has kind of honed what they're doing. I can't tell you what it felt like walking into it. One, it's not in Tomorrowland as I would have expected. It's actually over in Frontierland. You know, I guess there was just more space to carve out. But when you walk in, they do an amazing job at the immersion. You feel like you walked into a new planet. Like, they have these like ambient like rock formations and tall buildings that kind of cover your skyline. You don't see the rest of the park. You don't hear Matterhorn over there. You don't see Thunder Mountain going by you. Like, you're encapsulated in this whole area, and you feel like you're going through like a Jakku, a Mos Eisley. Like, you're in this little like dirty cantina town. All the workers there, they stay in character. It doesn't cost $50, Mark. It's 50 credits. You know, they really talk to you about like, oh yes, Master Yoda said you got to go here. So sometimes it's hard to get a straight answer when you just want to know where the bathroom is.
What's the exchange rate on dollars to credits? Or
it's probably it's probably worse. It's not, based on how much my bank account went down. It's not good, Mike. It's definitely not good. When I went to the bathroom, I got like alien jazz playing on in some nonsense languages.
That's jizz. That's jizz. They named it that, not me, but we have to correct.
It is just so fun, you know.
Yes, they, you know, in the cantina when those little stupid aliens are
yeah,
it is officially called. It's not jazz because it's aliens. So they call it jizz. And I think back in the 70s that was kosher. No one raised an eyebrow, but in today's climate, is like, okay, that's a little off-brand for the Star Wars franchise. But
I don't know if anybody's playing It's MMAzing Bingo, but I'm not sure if jizz was a square or ass play. But if you had those, it's a real boon for you today, folks.
Anyways, Mark, so you're saying we got to buy another vowel. We got to buy a different vowel for the alien jazz. It was just super cool, though. I did the Star Wars build a lightsaber experience. Mark, I told you, it's stupidly expensive. But when you're standing there and you're doing it, you got children, you got grown middle-aged men older than you. Everyone's a dork in that moment, you know, when you choose your color kyber crystal. For the record, I chose green. I'm always a good guy in the games you choose. But then it's so fun when night came up and all us nerds started lighting up our like lightsabers, walking it around with it. You know, anyone who has like the red sabers are kind of mean mugging, like the blue and green sabers. There's always the one person in the park who chose purple, a very not popular color. But it's just so fun. And I got to say, so there's 2 rides on it. There's the Rise of the Resistance, and what is the other one called? Smuggler's Run. What's up, Bob?
Yo, there aren't that many purples?
People don't like purple.
Do people not like Samuel L. Jackson?
Look, I'm making just an observation. There's one group of people who choose purple. And
I was about to ask, are there no black people at Disneyland?
I'm not making a statement. I'm just making my observation on my attendance.
Well, okay, legitimate question. Mike, what color would you get? I think I would get purple.
That's racist.
Well, hey,
I would not pick purple.
Can you not get BMF engraved into it like he did? Because I feel that should be a feature. That should be because they let him engrave BMF into his lightsaber. Give me the full Star Wars experience, man.
Are you a BMF? Did you earn the right that Samuel L. did?
That's true.
Well, let me tell you, out of the people here, one of us carried a bad motherfucker wallet around for a few years, deserved or not.
Okay? To answer your question, if I had a choice, I would pick a white lightsaber, like from Knights of the Old Republic.
So this said, you do not get to choose those. You can go to the shop where you can buy additional colors, and there I did.
So that shit is extra.
Yeah, so I did buy. So the thing is, it's fun. You know, you choose your color for if you're going to do the whole experience. But they have the whole shop where you can buy different colors. I bought a yellow one. I bought the red one because there is a chase. 1 in 100 red ones is actually a black crystal, and you get the dark saber. So I didn't get it. The Force was not with me. But you can choose a white saber, Mike. You can choose a white saber.
Question for you.
Yes.
How much did this fake ass sword cost you? Just give me a ballpark.
The experience is $200. So
that's actually not that bad.
So at the store, you can buy what are called the legacy lightsabers, and so what you're going to get there is like the handles of the established characters. You can buy Kylo's. One of the cool ones, because I just you don't get a good look at the movie. You get to see Leia's lightsaber. You can see Rey's. Classic Obi-Wan, Anakin. Those run about $150 for like the high-end lightsabers. The when you do the experience, besides getting to do the whole experience, they give you a carrying case for it. So it's a protective case, so that's part of what's built into the extra king. I got a little handle, so if you take the blade off and you just have the hilt of the lightsaber, display it on your shelves, But it is a cool thing, you get the different colors. I was saying, the crystals are actually interactive things. I was explaining to Mark, they sell Sith and Jedi holocron boxes, and if you put your crystal into it, you hear voice lines of a character, so you find out what Jedi or Sith Lord's crystal do you have, So if you choose a green one, you put it in, you'll have Yoda, Luke, Qui-Gon. You put in blue, you'll have young Anakin, Obi-Wan. I think yellow is Rey. I think white is Ahsoka Tano. So red can be any number of Asajj Ventress, Count Dooku, etc.
Apologize. Did you also look at the droid stuff, or
we did the droid stuff? Yeah, my sister and niece wanted to do the droid thing. The droid thing I think runs a bit cheaper, like 90 or 100-ish, like half the price. But yeah, they added you can build BB-8 style ball droids now. Previously, it was like 2 astromech styles, either R2D2 or I'm blanking on the name. The red and white one with the bad motivator. We see him again in The Mandalorian. He's been patched up. But yeah,
honestly, I would be so boring. I would just go there and say, "Give me fucking R2D2." That's who I'd want. I'm like, just give me R2D2.
Nothing wrong with being classic. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about the rides. So the Smuggler's Run is kind of cool. It's a 6-person interactive ride. You have 2 people who are pilots. You have 2 people who are gunners and 2 people who are engineers. And there's so it's kind of like a souped up version of Star Tours, because you're kind of in a pod. It's clearly like a motion simulator, but you get scores and everything. Like our pilot sucked, by the way. So they crashed a lot. So that meant engineers had to do a lot of work. I had a very low accuracy rate as a gunner. My sister, I noticed, was not pressing the shooting button at any point because she just wanted to watch the ride. And I'm like, why is only the right gun firing? Why is our score so terrible? It was really cool, but a funny story was, when we're lined up and, they break you out into groups, you put you in the pods. So it was 3 members of my family, and there was a couple from South America in the front. And when they assigned us, they assigned you by colors. All right, you guys are the blue group. You guys are the red group. When it got to us, like, you guys are the brown group. And it was an old white man who assigned us. And I was like, is this racist? Is this why are the Filipinos and the South Americans the brown team? Why is brown one of the colors in the Star Wars ride? But that said, the one I really want to highlight is the Rise of the Resistance ride. I don't, Mark. Did you ever watch a video of it?
I think I've seen clips. That's like where you're taking like a tour, kind of like a base or something, right?
It's basically that ride showed me what the future of rides are. Right? We've all been to a theme park. We've been on a roller coaster or whatever, and there's kind of a certain thing to them. This Rise of the Resistance ride, it reinvents what a ride can be. Like, I kept reading, I read a little bit about it, but I didn't want to be spoiled. And they kept calling it, it's not a ride, it's an experience. And I'm like, that's some hokey advertising nonsense. And then I went on it and I'm like, yo, that shit is an experience. Like, parts of waiting are like the ride. I mean, if you guys don't want spoilers, feel free to mute or tune out here. But it just starts with like, you walk onto a tarmac, you see Pose, it starts with you go into a room where you get a video, like holographic Ray explaining this mission that we have to go on. And kind of like Star Tours, where you kind of get the whole spiel of what are we doing? And then you go onto this tarmac, you see Pose, black and orange X-Wing, and there's like kind of a giant transport ship, like a Admiral Akbar species guy, but not Admiral Akbar as your pilot. So you kind of go on this big transport ship, and it's like, okay, it looks like it's just parked on the tarmac, but apparently it's a motion thing itself, because once you get on it, you feel it lifting, you start getting this video package, you're like, all right, here's our mission we're doing. But then all of a sudden, you see a Star Destroyer in the thing. And oh no, it's locked on our tractor beams, and we're getting sucked in, and you're feeling the ship shake. And it's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? We're sucked in. And then this is the thing I didn't know was coming, and this is where I became a fucking 5-year-old child, and everyone was like, oh shit. Because then the door opens, and what do you see? You are on a Star Destroyer docking bay. There is a fleet of stormtroopers outside. All the staff are Imperial officers. You see the giant X-Wings in the bay. And they're all in character. They're ordering, like, step off the ship. They take you to an interrogation room where a fucking mechanical, Kylo Ren is about to interrogate you. But then, oh shit, all of a sudden a lightsaber is cutting a hole in the door and it opens. And here's the Resistance here to rescue you. So then you're funneled out of there and you're on this whole escape thing. And then, there's another part where it actually is like you're sitting in the car and it's a motion ride. But they incorporated so many 3D and practical effects where, like, you're experiencing the animatronics. It's just crazy. Like I said, Star Wars, there's been a lot of bad Star Wars recently, so the fervor's died down, but I feel like having gone on this ride, like, it felt like Star Wars was the coolest thing in the world. And I just said I cared about Marvel above all else on this trip, but that's where I just really give kudos for whatever this ride is. And with the world opening back up, if y'all can make it to California Adventure, if y'all can make it to Disneyland, it is a dent in your wallet, but man, was it worth the experience. I had a goddamn blast. I bought a million things. I'll show all the fellas that later when we're off air, because I don't need us to go long when we're having a short episode. But I made it down to the world's happiest place, and it was a goddamn blast.
Marcus.
Yeah, jumped into gaming again. It had been a while since anything has really pulled my interest, or I've gotten kind of, really enthralled in a couple games, and I have quite a bit to talk about this week. So last week, Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance came out. This is a 4-person hack and slash loot-based type of game that are very popular, games as a service type of deal. And I will say, while enjoyable playing with others, because I did have a good time, and I want to continue playing it, it's definitely rough around the edges. As far as these games go, I think there's even more issues with this one than something like Avengers, which had its own issues and gripes. But and I'm not someone that gets really bogged down with frame rate or screen tearing. That stuff usually doesn't bother me so much. But it's pretty egregious in this game, where enemies will kind of freeze for a second and then spawn and do an attack that you weren't seeing coming, and sometimes you get some cheap deaths and stuff. But overall, still had a really good experience playing it, and still want to play more. And I will say, of the highlights of the game, I think one thing it really does excel at is the level design is really kind of complex and intricate, but really pays off. The game does a good job of telling you where you're supposed to go. And often there is a fork in the road, and you always well, I'm supposed to go that way. Let's go the other way to get the extra little treasures or what have you. And how the levels in and of themselves kind of loop into each other, and the paths kind of do converge back again, is really well done. The combat itself, I think, is fairly ho-hum. It's nothing too crazy. And the story, the problem with games like this in story is that it's highly recommended that you're playing with a group. It's just, as a single player game, it's not going to get it done. As a group, it's much more enjoyable. But when you're in a group, you're usually chatting. And so story beats and elements outside of like major cutscenes, I'm not really picking up on, which is a shame because it does seem like they went the extra length to have specialized dialogue depending on what characters you're bringing. We just did one mission where they mentioned like, usually you can do a squad of 4, but there's just 3 of us. And they mentioned like, oh, well, the 3 of us will get this done. It's like, oh, they went the extra effort to make a unique dialogue for this mission and not having a full party, which I thought was interesting that, a lot of games don't do. And another thing I will say that is nice about it, it's not a full price game. It comes in at $39.99, which honestly, when I first bought it, I was like, that gave me some hesitations. Like, okay, if they're not charging full price, they know what the product is and that it's not quite a full-fledged kind of deal. And the first loading screen you see with the full 4 characters kind of staring at the screen, like, we're in a moment in gaming where like graphics are just top notch, and this game is definitely below it. And when you look at that loading screen, it's like it feels like I'm playing a PS3 game, but it's still, like I said, very enjoyable. I've had a good time, and I want to continue playing it. Another game that also I think kind of shot below itself, or I had more anticipation for, was Mario Golf Power Shot. I don't know what the little, or Super Rush, what the little subtitle is. I haven't put a ton of time into this, to be fair, but the time I have put in, I think just playing the regular golf is totally enjoyable. I'm totally down just to play 18 holes of regular ass golf where I'm not running and chasing the ball and chasing all my other friends. The problem with that is that you don't get a lot of courses from the outstart. I think you have 2 courses, and I think when you play the career mode, you gain the other courses. So I'm trying to play through that, and the career so far has been a little underwhelming in that they've obviously put a lot of time into it. There's a lot more assets in this game that they didn't need to make interior houses and to 3D model all these other characters and make a little town that I'm running through. Because like honestly, it's just like, I'm going to talk to a Koopa about golfing, and there's another Koopa over there. Like, what are all these fucking Koopas going to say about golfing? Like, just get me into the golfing. Let's golf already. But there is some, game mechanics in here that, as someone that has played the latest Everyone Loves Golf and a lot of the Hot Shots games and a couple of Mario Golfs in the past, like, there's different types of setups here that I'm still trying to get the hang of. But overall, I found it to be enjoyable. I think it's an interesting take to have this whole game mechanic where you're basically playing real golf, and that like I hit the golf ball and now I have to go run after it, which in and of itself would, and I think most games skip it because it's boring as dirt just to have your character walk across a green. But the whole spiel here is that like you're racing against your friends and you have special dash moves and stuff like that, which is, I think, interesting. I think when you're in this number of iterations on a golf game, you do have to kind of change it up to keep people interested. I don't know if this really is like the most engaging thing in the world, but I applaud them for taking a shot at it. And again, I've enjoyed the game. It just hasn't, I think I had higher expectations, and I think maybe it was like, okay, I need to earn these other golf courses, so let me go through this career mode. And the career mode just, I'm usually all for trying to get like immersed in a game and really get like, oh, I am me, Mark. I'm playing golf with fucking Birdie and a Boo Ghost and the big football player from Super Mario World that like was never in any other game. He's in there, and they're like ragging on me, thinking I'm not going to win the rookie tournament. It's just like I had a hard time getting kind of into it, but I enjoyed what was there. There's been a couple games I've been playing outside of that, a couple oldies but goodies. I mentioned ever since Virtual Fighter 5 came out, I gave it a shot, and then I got into the online, and I'm still fucking playing that thing online a lot and really liking it. I'm definitely getting to the higher tiers at this point where like I am just getting fucking owned. But like I mentioned a couple episodes, like I know enough about the games. Like I know why I'm getting owned. Like these guys know good combo strings. They know how to get one hit and give me 70 damage or whatever. And I'm just not at that level. But like I know enough to hold my own and to have a good match. Even though like I'm outmatched, I'll still win a round or two and not feel like, okay, I'm just like completely outclassed. So that's been a ton of fun. And the last game I want to mention, this is one that came out in 2019, and it's always been kind of a guilty pleasure indie darling. It's called Lonely Mountain Downhill, and it's very, artistically it's simplistic. The game itself is fairly simplistic. You're basically just riding these downhill trails But what I really like about the game is that when you first get a trail, your first little mission is just beat the trail. There's check marks, just go through it at your leisure. There's no time attack or anything like that. And then to earn the next trail, you have to beat that trail again, but I only have so many crashes. So it's kind of like when I do that, it's like, okay, I don't need to bust my ass going fast or trying to find like secret shortcuts and stuff. I just have to be careful, take my time. And I really like that type of pacing in a game where it's like we're rewarding precision over like hyperactive like speed. And then they do have the same things where it's like you need to get through the whole trail in like 3 minutes. And then that kind of time trial stuff usually doesn't really, get me too excited. I really don't like being under the clock and rushed. But what's cool about Lonely Mountain Downhill with the time trials is that there's a bunch of checkpoints. So it's just like, and once you start a checkpoint, if you die again, you just go back to that checkpoint. Your time doesn't keep running. You got to start all over again. So it really encourages you to get to know the paths and to look for all these little shortcuts, which there's just thousands of little shortcuts you can take to cut off a couple of seconds here and there. So I really like that game. That game came out a couple of years ago, and it's still something like when I'm just looking through my library, it's like, you know what? That's just a cool, chill-ass game. I don't have to be super stressed. I can take my time getting back into it. That I've really been enjoying. So lastly, I did want to mention a couple shows that started up again that we haven't mentioned on the show. Last week was the premiere of Rick and Morty came back, and as Adult Swim and Cartoon Network does, they let you get that first taste for free. Yum, yum, yum. I ate it up. And then episodes 2 and 3 came out this week, and I'm like, all right, Rick and Morty's on Hulu.
2 and 3?
I think so. That's what I read somewhere, but maybe not, because I only saw reviews for 2, but I saw some place that said they were doing both of them this week. But anyways, I was like, okay, Rick and Morty's on Hulu. Rick and Morty's on HBO Now. One of these fuckers has got to have the next day broadcast, and I guess Hulu does not. So I don't know when I'm going to see the rest of season 5, but I really enjoyed that first episode. It wasn't anything like super crazy. It was just back to classic Rick and Morty hijinks, and I really liked it. They had a Namor-like character that I thought was fantastic. Stefan, do you remember the name? Like Mr.
It was Mr. Nimbus.
Mr. Nimbus. He's going to be saying that a lot. Mr. Nimbus, and I still forgot his name. So I've really been enjoying that. And then another show that is totally a guilty pleasure, but I watched it with Christine. We love it. It's really fun. It's on its third season now. It's called Making It. This is with Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman. And it's just a fucking wholesome ass show. And I'm going to spoil the first episode because whatever. What is always kind of weird is like it's super wholesome. Everyone's all lovey-dovey, and we're just here to like make crafts and just like express our unique selves. And then, but it's also a game show, right? So like every week, like, well, we do have to eliminate somebody because somebody's crafts weren't up to task this week and they need to go. So the first episode, they're doing their whole thing and everyone does great on their little crafts and stuff. And they look great and awesome. And they're like, we got a twist. This season, like on this episode, no one gets eliminated. And they're like, oh, we're all going to stay for another week, which seems nice because like the first week, one guy doesn't get to, one of the people doesn't get to tell their whole story about like, oh, I grew up and this is how craft made me a better person or whatever. But the kicker on it was like, not only are we not getting rid of anybody, we're bringing on 3 more people. It's like, what the fuck is this show? You can't bring on more people. You got to start cutting people, not bringing more on. I think they did say like, okay, well, next week we are going to start cutting people. Like it is a game show. It has to be one winner at the end of it. But just a super nice, wholesome show, and something that I've always really enjoyed. I think Amy and Nick obviously had a ton of chemistry. I think their chemistry made Parks and Rec, one of the many pillars that made that show so great. But to see them kind of continue on, and they're playing themselves, but Nick is very much that character in the show. He is just a craftsman, and, they're doing little pun-offs and stuff. It's a really fun show. I totally recommend it. I guess the shitty aspect is because of Peacock, I think seasons 1 and 2 aren't on Hulu anymore. It's all on the Peacock network. But because of the weird TV deal, they're doing 1-day delays on Hulu for season 3, so that's cool. I'm glad it's not only on Peacock because I just wouldn't fucking be watching it then. But yeah, that's what I got this week.
You could have used my Peacock. I still have Peacock for another.
I guess they say it's
5
free.
weeks.
They say it's free, but there
is a free version.
But I never looked into it.
No, the $5 version's got commercials too.
That's a Hulu bullshit.
No, the $10 one is the one that's commercial for. I don't know. I got the $5.
I got the $5
one.
I still got to see commercials.
That's
well.
bullshit.
I bought 4 months for $10,
Yeah,
so I got a hard time
bad.
complaining about any of it. So I'm just I'm gonna try to pay my respects to Mick Foley and watch Hell in a Cell once a year on the anniversary. That's what Peacock's
Sure.
for at this point. By the time Mick almost died. We said it was gonna be a short episode. So it was still 75 minutes long.
That's how we do.
We liked a lot of
how we-
stuff. I got sent to Disneyland. What could I do?
There was a shit ton of stuff to like this week.
I'm just here to tell you guys about games that are a little bit old and TV shows that are about 15 years too old here. Anyway, Bobby Hill, man, you could build your life around that man's wisdom.
You get to it when you get to it.
Exactly. All right, boys and girls, we'll be back next week. Gonna talk a little Fast and the Furious 9. Hopefully, I will have seen it. I hope Mike will have seen it by then too, because I don't think anybody else.
I'm amazed I haven't seen it yet. I will have seen it by next Monday.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see it next Saturday. Or this.
You
Saturday,
know what,
I guess.
fellas? Spoil away, because I don't care.
No, I don't give two shits.
Do you think we know what's happening in these things? What do you mean? They just there's something we need to
Tell
accomplish.
me about what new superpowers these random car thieves have now.
Who got welcomed into
yeah.
the family this time?
I mean,
I think
you just-
literally
you
John
gotta.
Cena.
There you
Yeah,
go.
John
You knew
Cena, what do
someone
you
was
mean?
joining the family. They can't have a fast whatever without someone joining the family.
It's not when someone shows up and they're the bad guy. The key is 2 movies later when they have a baby face
turn.
And
Like when Jason Statham.
let's not forget the return of Han in this movie.
That's right. Han is
See,
back.
that's why Jason Statham could turn. He didn't actually kill him.
Bow Wow, I heard, is in this movie.
Ooh.
What about
Lucas-
QB1? Is QB1
I was about to say
coming back?
Lucas Black.
He was in the last one, wasn't he?
It was like a cameo little thing.
Yeah.
Like Vin Diesel does a hop, skip, and a jaunt over to Japan to get like one question answered. Where it's like, my guy,
No. He takes
Hangout.
Han's.
Get that shit figured out real quick.
There's that one where he takes Han's body home, which I'm like, isn't Han Japanese? What happened? Why are you taking his body to Los Angeles? You're taking his body away from his family? What's this move, Vin? I love these movies. All right, yeah, and we're gonna preview this Conor McGregor
Big
card.
card.
Well, it's a big card, and that Conor McGregor's on it. There's other shit on there. Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson, that should be good.
O'Malley.
We got Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. I swear Tai Tuivasa got cut. I'm serious. I read that he got cut. I don't know what happened.
Greg Hardy's
Dusted him
still a
off for
thing.
this one.
Did Greg Hardy beat somebody that he's gotten whatever? Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya. That's a good one, Steph, right there.
Yeah.
We're gonna see who comes out of that bantamweight fight. Sean O'Malley, Luis Smolka. It's gonna be interesting to see how Sean O'Malley deals with somebody as big as Luis Smolka. Not necessarily a striker, but he is tall and very long. And if it goes to the mat, I'm pretty confident O'Malley's getting turned into a pretzel. So he should probably keep it standing because he'll probably knock him out that way. Anyway, back next week. Thank you all for listening so much. You guys have a good 4th of July. Go America.
America.
Yeah. Just get vaccinated. America does that well. Pushing
We
the
got a
vaccines
lot
out.
of them. Not everyone's
We
taking
got a lot of
them,
them.
but we got the stock. If you want to come on by.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, you can be cold-hearted like me when you read stories like, in these states, only 30% are vaccinated, and the unvaccinated are especially vulnerable to the new variant. I'm like, well, they should probably do something about that. And I just move on with my day.
See you all in a few months for Quarantine Part 2.
Right on. All right, guys. Thank you all. I was Dr. Law. That was Kid Presentable. That was DJ Mark. And that was Laminar Gooms. See y'all next week. Peace out.
See ya.
That's it.